What's going on, people, and welcome to a brand new episode of Too Many Games and Not Enough Time. I'm your host with the most, the one and only Mr. Midas. Now, in Too Many Games and Not Enough Time, I'm lucky enough to talk to gamers across the globe about the thing that we love the most, our passion for gaming. Now, a lot of you know me and you know I'm into this gaming thing and I work in gaming because I was fed up of not being seen in this gaming place. But you see what? You see these two brothers that I'm talking to today? They're not just some street youths. They're not just some back of the club youths. Them man, they are VIPs, my G. We're talking VIP2GAMING in the building. Duke and D-Buck, welcome to Too Many Games. How are you both?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Excited to be here.
I'm super gassed to talk to both of you. I know you're both super passionate about gaming. So D-Buck, I'm gonna go straight to you because you just dropped a new video. You was gassing up about the OLED Nintendo Switch. I see your Nintendo 100%. Switch light in the background. But I just want to get just a little brief. What's your history in gaming? Like, what really got you into wanting to do this thing?
Well, I've been in gaming since I've been little, very little, since the Master System. Alex the Kid, that was my earliest gaming memory. Used to bang that out, and since then I've been playing games my whole life. And then the creating content thing came maybe
2009, isn't it?
So 11 years ago. I don't know how long I've been doing this. It's been doing a long time.
2009.
Yeah, since 2009. So I haven't, I'm very used to the gaming industry, very used to creating content, and it's just something that I've had the passion for a while now. So not a lot of people do it this long, but I'm still
man
here.
Said Alex the Kid with a big fist. You get me? Alex the Kid was
built into the Master System, no cartridge.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna correct you. It was built into the Master System 2. So the original Master System didn't have it built in, and the Master System 2 had it built in. Because the Master System 2, you had to flip the lid to put in the cartridge.
That's it.
Yeah, man, goes back in this thing as well, you know. Black don't crack, fam. So Duke, like, we've known each other for a while. We've seen each other at events, and both very passionate gamers. And like, I know your background, I know what you're about. But for anyone who's new to you, and you just wanted to give them like a brief, who you are, who would you say you are?
Just a gamer, like just someone that loves games. Like gaming don't change on you. Get me? Like, people change on you, games don't change on you. Like, Final Fantasy 7 is still my all-time favorite game, and I play it every year without fail. And I do something different in it.
Don't worry. We'll be playing. We're going to be talking about some Final Fantasy 7. You already know that. But you know what? I like the way he said that. He was like, gaming don't change on you, but it's almost like he had a memory of someone who did change on him, and it glittered in his eye. He was like that rotted gal, like that glitter.
People change, you get me? But like, gaming don't change, music don't change. If the song was a banger, it's a banger. It's going to be banger for life. Like, music genres might change, but that music still bangs. Like, let's be real, Michael Jackson's music still bangs.
Still bangs.
Always will.
Still bangs. So, D-Buck, what you feeling about this OLED Nintendo Switch? What vibes you getting from it?
You know what? Initially, I was like, yes, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. We all been gassed about the 4K Nintendo Switch. I was like, yeah, imagine playing it. Imagine having a handheld and it's 4K. Like, that's just madness. So I was expecting that. But when I was actually watching the video, they only mentioned 4 things they added. So obviously, when I was doing my video, I didn't do the research at that time. So I just still imagined that it was going to be somewhat 4K, but that it was a bit underwhelming with that news. But I'm excited to. It's always, a new device is always good to have. So I'm excited to play it. I'm just disappointed, with the 4K output. I think that was the one thing that I was looking forward to the most.
Big man thing, they gassed me, fam. They gassed me and then pulled the rug from under my feet. Because I was like you. I've been waiting for this full thing. And the OLED screen is sick anyway. I'm onto that because I play my Switch more time handheld. Like, if I'm playing
Yeah,
on the
same.
TV, 9 times out of 10, I'm playing my PS5. So I'm like more
Yeah, 100,
handheld. So that OLED screen is going to gas me. But them not having that NVIDIA chip in there, them not being able to have that 4K when it's plugged into the TV, like it having exactly the same specs on the TV and exactly the same battery life is so dead.
Yeah, it was annoying.
I think there's
That's why
more
it's-
though. It's Nintendo. Like, Nintendo can keep secrets. I think
Fam,
this might
nah,
be,
fam,
this
they
could be
put the
like a light
specs-
version.
Nah,
they put
fam, they put the specs out. I believe now they've put that out. All of the Nvidia and all of that, we'll get that in the Switch too. That will be the next.
Yeah, I think there'll be a new Switch. Yeah.
Yeah, the
But
Switch.
when
2,
though, like I can't see this. The normal Switch ain't gonna die for now. It's doing way too well.
Well, that's why this is coming out, right? Because the Switch is doing so well. They're like,
Maybe they
if
changed
we
their
release
plans.
if we
Maybe
release
they
a
changed
Switch
their plans,
2,
isn't it?
it's gonna slow things down if they release a Switch 2, like a
So maybe the
Switch
Switch 2 could be the 4K they was gonna drop, but they've overall looked at it and
Yeah, they
thought, you know
probably think-
what? Let's hold this back and just push with the Switch for now. Like,
yeah, that's
And
definitely.
the Switch is selling numbers.
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 The numbers
the thing
game.
is, we ain't even got a Mario Kart game yet. Like an actual Switch Mario Kart. Because you know,
Fam.
in general, Nintendo released one of their games per system. We haven't
Yeah,
had
that's
Mario
why
Kart.
there's still a lot of games they're gonna release, man.
But the maddest thing is, Mario Kart is still in the top 3 selling games.
Yeah, that game bangs.
Yeah,
Play that online.
like-
It's a madness.
Yeah,
it's
man,
a
like-
madness.
Mad. So, dude, you spoke the words into my ears that I like to hear, my G. Get me? Man said Final Fantasy VII. Now, Final Fantasy VII is one of the greatest games ever made, and it's one of my favorite games. And I love the remake. Dude, we're going to talk a bit about the Yuffie DLC in a minute. But what is it about this game that just really resonates with you? What is it about Cloud and Sephiroth and their mad story and people getting juke up? Like, what is it about this that really resonates?
The story was just crazy. It's only like, I think last year I've just realized that Sephiroth was not real. Like Debug pointed it out to me. We was watching a speed run and they were talking through it, and then we clocked like, raw. Like, you know when you see Sephiroth, he was always in the northern cave. So that was just Genova walking around. I never knew this all this time, you know. I've been playing Final Fantasy since, 97?
Yeah. To be fair, we was young, you know. This story
I know.
is pretty complex, you know,
But
for,
it's a
for a
complex
younger
story.
to...
Fam,
the music.
I literally started replaying it because I was doing some content for Apple Arcade, and I was like, you know what, let me just rebuy it. And I haven't replayed it since PlayStation 1 days. I'll keep it about. Still one of the most special games for me, but I haven't replayed it. I've always just been like, I can't go back and replay it, but I was just like,
Sometimes
you
you're
know,
scared
I'm
to
doing
go
it.
back, you know.
Yeah, and I've been replaying it, and I've been seeing mad things. So when you're, like you're saying, when you're in a pyramid, and that's not like, even then I clocked, I was like, what? He's just like some ghost thing. He's not even there. Like, why is no one badding him up? But then it also made me realize how incredible Final Fantasy VII Remake is. Now, I love Final Fantasy VII Remake from it first came out, but like, it blows my mind what they've been able to put in that game from the original. Like, a lot of people disagree with me in this, but I feel like the pacing in Final Fantasy VII Remake is better in Midgard than the pacing is in OG FF7. It's a big ass statement.
But it's like, but they had like 30 hours to sort out Midgard, right, with a remake. So I think that's the difference. Whereas that whole section of the remake is what, maybe 50-60% of this one. So it's like, to have like a 30-hour game of just Midgard alone, and what they did with Midgard was amazing. It's something that more than I expected.
Blown it up.
Yeah.
It's like they've taken the original. They have done. They've taken it, just blown it up, and that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, thinking about 20, however many years ago it came out, to see like the Midgard that in the OG Final Fantasy 7, and then when you see it like fully 3D in a massive world, you're like, wow. And the majority of people have all in the remake as well, in proper 3D characters.
So I'm going to drop a spoiler for Final Fantasy VII Remake. If you haven't completed Final Fantasy VII Remake, skip forward. I'll put a time code on the bottom. All right? You've been warned. Going to get into it. Fam, when you fight Sephiroth from Advert Children, that fight blew my, like, I'm like, how am I playing Advert Children, but it looks better than Advert Children? Like, what? Like, I couldn't believe that, because when we watched Advert Children, like, you couldn't even, like, that was even better than what our thoughts of Final Fantasy VII could be. And for them to actually bring that in the remake blew my mind.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
The only
crazy.
thing I didn't like was hearing One Winged Angel. Like, you know, that's the end game. Like, you hear it, like, obviously it goes with the scene that's happening, but from the original, you know, that's when you hear that, you see Save for Sephiroth, it's like crazy scene.
Well, I think they had to put Sephiroth in that though. They had to.
Yeah. They involved him more than the original. But they kind of took away the mystery. Like you can see what he can do from early. We remember in the first game, like when you come out of Midgar, you cross the Zolom thing, and you see one of the Zoloms there just impaled in a tree. You're like, raw, Sephiroth did that. Like,
Yeah. There's a somewhat of a mystery in the OG game.
So Debug, I'm 100% with you, and I argue this all the time. And I argue that there's no longer a mystery of Sephiroth. Everyone knows who Sephiroth is. Everyone knows, even if you've never played a Final Fantasy game, you know he's Cloud's enemy. You know it from Smash. You know it from Advert Children.
100%.
Like, there's no mystery.
Smash. Oh,
there's no mystery to him anymore. So
Yeah.
I think it would have been such a waste them not having him in the remake. I think it makes so much sense them having him in the remake earlier.
And to add to that, you can even argue as again, you know, if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII Remake, you know, skip this bit, but you can argue that, you know, this Sephiroth is not the Sephiroth that we know from the OG game. You could say,
we ain't even getting into all of that. We're gonna
I'm just saying.
If we start
is this even Sephiroth? What is this Genova? We don't know.
It's just crazy. It's just like
you're right.
The way you think about it. So that's why when it is in a game, you're like, oh, OG Final Fantasy, that wouldn't have Sephiroth in the game so early. Like all this. I was like, bro, are we actually playing the same game though now? Are we? Is something different?
Did say a lot of stuff slight change.
Certain things that I've seen in that remake is not the same now. So
fam, we're connecting.
Right.
Do you know what? I've got a best of series where I talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake, the best Final Fantasy game ever. If I do, when I do the next part, D1, I'll bring you on and we'll talk about it. Like, we'll go ham on it.
Prop it in.
I just need to know when the next one's coming.
Fam, that ain't coming for another 2 years. But we're not going to talk about Final Fantasy all day. I want to talk to you about the FGC. Like, I know you're big into your fighting games. One of the things that I really like about the FGC is it's probably the most diverse places when it comes to gaming. Like, you go to certain gaming tournaments. Like, I work in esports, so I go to like the Call of Duty League, or I go to like a Dota esports events and stuff like that, and spot the black person. Like, spot anyone that's not white, or spot anyone that's not just Japanese. And the FGC is probably the most diverse, even though it's like the least funded and probably the least supported when it comes to esports. What is it that you really love about fighting games?
For me, the best thing about the FGC was the people in the scene. I think, like you said, it's the people that you meet, and the people that look like you, speak like you, and have the same passion for the game as you. Then you're always bound to connect. Like, certain people that I've met from the FGC have been, you know, some of my very good friends now. Like, I've known them for years and years, and we're really close. And someone like Duke, I met. Technically, you could actually. We met before then, but you know,
at the tournament.
From in person, I've met a lot of people through
the first time we
events and stuff. Yeah,
Jamie.
Yeah. I've met a lot of people through the FGC. You know, famous people and
King
very
J
cool
was the first. Like, when I met D-Bot, the first. That's when we met King J as well.
Yeah, King J, someone like that. So I've known King J since 2009. We've been doing this. Like I said, we've all been on the grind for a very long time. So it's like you said, it's very diverse. It welcomes anyone into the scene. It's not someone like you said, when you go to certain events. Like, I've been to a League of Legends events, and it's like you said, you don't see any diversity. As sad as it sounds, it's very, you know, a certain demographic. Whereas With the FCC, it's, you just see man them from ends. That's that's the easiest way to put it. You see man them in ends, and it's it's not a case. There's no filter or anything. You just say what you want, and obviously, and I think that's one of the biggest problems with the FCC. Whereas in the earlier stages, when every other games or scenes are going like in that professional esports route, FGC wants to stay more home, like home rooted and doing like local tournaments, and they don't want like big companies coming in and saying, oh, you can only have like invitational tournaments. So I was like, well, that defeats the purpose for FGC, because anyone should be able to enter a tournament, and anyone should be being able to play each other. So I think that's something that the FGC has on a lot of other scenes.
All right, we ain't got too much time left because we're a short form podcast, but I need to find something out from both of you. So I'm going to start with Duke, and then we're going to go to D-Buck. So what game, even if it's not announced, that's coming to your next gen console, whether it be your PS5, your Xbox Series X, or your Nintendo Switch 2, are you most excited about? What's the game that you just can't wait to get your hands on?
There's two.
I said the game, fam. Man wants to come out with two, fam. Just because you got a VIP2 in your name,
if I have to pick one.
No, go on. Give me the two, quickly.
Battlefield. What is it, 2042? I can't wait for that. Metroid Dread. That game. I'm hyped for that game.
So I'm actually surprised. I thought you would have gone like a Street Fighter 6 or something. I thought you would have gone farther out to something that's not been announced. So you more excited?
I'm a Nintendo fanboy, really.
Are you more excited for Dread than Prime 4?
Ooh, for now, yeah. Because I know Dread's coming. Prime, we don't know when that's coming because they started production again on that. So we don't know when that's coming. But I
think I'll play Dread, but I'm a prime you. That's my Metroid, like Prime. D-Buck, talk to me, my G.
Oh, can I add a few games then?
Let's fam, you can have two.
All right.
Man said a few. You want two. You want two. What's wrong with people? I want to
go one better. No. The Elden Ring. Very hyped for that game. That's gonna be Game of the Year contender. Oh, shit, I should have said that. But it's got to be Breath of the Wild 2. I think if it carries on from the first game was somewhat of a masterpiece. It's definitely one of the best games I've played on Nintendo, period. If it's anything as good as that, then it has to be Breath of the Wild 2. A bonus thing is God of War Ragnarok, though. That might.
I'll let you throw that in.
I might be the best game.
That's the thing. And for me, when I think of Breath of the Wild 2, I'm thinking of the Majora's Mask of the Breath of the Wild. And if we get that, I'm going to be hella gas. Thank you so much for joining me on Too Many Games and Not Enough Time. You lot are some dope guests. They've got an amazing channel. Fam, we're talking over 43K subscribers, You need to go and check out them, man. There's content. Where can they find you on the socials?
Go on, Duke.
At VIP2GAMING _ on Twitter, VIP2GAMING on YouTube, VIP2GAMING on Instagram. Those are the main ones. And what's yours, D-Buck? At
DWE _ Buck on Twitter.
Simple as that. They have been VIP2GAMING. I've been Mr. Midas. You've been the MVPs. And we out of here. Peace.